Hello, everyone. Welcome to Plan a Week You Can Win. Today we are starting with the first essential step. So when I talk with moms, and if this is you, this training's for you today. If they are bored, they are bummed, or they are busy. Okay, so if you fall into one of these categories, let me tell you a little bit more. So bored mom is when you're watching the clock. The days last forever. You don't know how to fill your time. This might be because all of your little kid, you've got little kids at home, and you feel like you're just sitting on the floor playing with them, and often there's a lot of mom guilt involved because you're sitting on the floor playing with them, but you're not loving it. And you feel like you should be washing the dishes in the sink, but you don't want to do that either. And you feel bad that you're not doing that, but then you feel bad that you're not present with your child. It's kind of like this just cycle. It also could be like your kids go to school and now you're like, okay, well, now what do I do for 5, 6, 7, 8 hours a day while they're gone? And I just said, maybe have a baby at home again, right? Then there's the busy mom. That's where you wake up, your feet hit the floor. There's a lot going on. You are running your household. You're getting people where they need to go. You're making sure that they're in their different activities or at school on time, and you're at the carpool line in time. But it doesn't feel fulfilling to you. They're busy full days, and they lead to burnout. You often feel burned out and exhausted from your very busy schedule. And then that's where you have something you want to do. You have something that's interesting to you. You have something that you feel like would be fulfilling, but you don't feel like you have the time, the energy, the support, the financial resources that you need to make this dream happen. So that is what I want to help you address today, because there's the fourth mom. So um, you probably go through, have either been in all three of those places or one, and will eventually work through those. It's kind of just part of the motherhood experience. As you become a mom, you start in total survival mode and slowly kind of figure out some things to get yourself out, but it's just part of the path, and that's okay. um but the way this works is, the goal is to get to something called alignment, where your time and your energy is going towards the things that matter most to you. So I want to show you this out. So show you this. I want to picture, this little quadrant axis, two axes, and on one is clarity and the other is action here. So with you are the board mom, you are low clarity, low action. Okay, you don't know what you want to be doing and you're not taking action towards doing much of anything. If you're the busy mom, you are really good at taking action, lots of action, right? You are full, you have filled your days, you are good at getting things done. Um, but maybe not clarity about what really matters, what's would bring you that joy and fulfillment, or working towards a bigger purpose. If you are the burned out or the bummed, that's where you have lots of clarity, right? You really do care and you have these dreams, you have these ideas, but you're not being able to take action towards it, right? So that's low action. And what we want is high action, high clarity. And that is where you fit this wonderful upward cycle when you're living in alignment. And what's really fun about living in alignment is that when you're here, what you're doing is giving you energy. It's giving you excitement. You're building momentum, and that spills into every area of your life. It spills into how your marriage is going. It spills into how you're interacting with your kids. It spills into how you're showing up for the things that matter to you. And so that's where we want to get to. We want to go from, either bored, bummed, or busy to living a life of alignment, of meaning and purpose. So, um, how do we get there? So today I want to talk to you about um, clarity. Tomorrow, or the next training, will be about action. And day 3 will be about how do we keep this momentum going? How do we keep things moving forward? And the fourth training will be, how do we do this simply and keep it very, very simple, because I'm going to teach you lots of things and I want you to know you can do this. So make sure to watch day 4 to know how busy moms do this. Okay. Because I am a homeschooling mom with 4 kids and I do not have time for fluff. So that is where we're headed over the next few days. So let's jump into this first principle of clarity. So when I talk about clarity, I'm talking about the things that matter to you, and also who you want to become. So another word for this is vision. What is your vision for yourself? And vision is, who do you want to be and what do you want to become? What kind of family do you want to create? While looking at your unique, gifts and talents and how you want to use those. So a little bit about me. So this all kind of fits together. When I became a mom, I thought I would love it. I was hoping that it would be, I would feel like God was a part of my days and that He would help me, and that, I don't know, I would be able to create a lovely home and love being a mom and show up well that way. But what I found was that I was really, really struggling. And I didn't want to be, but I was. And I now know that it was probably a whopping case of postpartum depression, but I did not know that at the time. And so I felt like I spent a lot of time in that bored mom position or even bummed sometimes, but like I I I spent a lot of time in that guilt and sitting with my child and not loving it, but also not wanting to miss it, right? I want to be present for it. Everyone says, enjoy this, it goes fast. So I wanted to be there for it. But then I felt stuck and I didn't feel like I was doing anything, barely taking care of myself because I didn't want to miss any moment of her life. And it was really hard. And when I had my second child, it was a real wake up call. I got something called C. diff at the hospital when they were born, and so when my son was 2 weeks old, I was back in the hospital now fighting for my life from this serious infection. And the thing that I realized was that I wanted to start living again. I wanted to create this life that I loved, that I was excited to wake up to each day and not just feel like I was surviving all the time. I wanted to thrive. That was the goal. I wanted to be a thriving mom. And so that kicked off this journey for me to try and close the gap between what my reality was surviving to what I hoped was possible. So, um, fast forward a few more years, I now had 4 children, and I actually made a lot of progress. And I'm going to share some of those specifics tomorrow with you of what I did to be able to start figuring out my life and the things that worked really well for me. But life was pretty good. But I had 4 kids. We had just moved again for the second time in a year, 2 cross country moves. And I was looking around completely overwhelmed with everything in front of me and was kind of drowning and, overwhelmed by the piles on the counter and the laundry on the floor and just kids' toys and trash and things not put away. And so I was loading the dishes and praying and just saying, I need something. I do not know if I can make it through another day. I am just so exhausted. What do I do? And the word that came to my mind was soar, SOAR. And as I continued to ponder and load my dishwasher, it kind of became an acronym for me. Stood for serve. Use your gifts and talents to serve those around you. O for obedience. Listen to God. Be able to receive revelation from Him and to be able to act on these things. A was adventure. Live life with an adventuring mindset. Enjoy it. Enjoy the journey and make time for adventures. Make time for doing things with your family and exploring and learning and discovering things together. And R was for relationships, to have the capacity to enjoy and love and pour into meaningful relationships. So this was kind of this picture of now what I call a soaring mother that God kind of planted in my heart, this idea that you could become a soaring mother. So he gave me this like vision of what was possible and set my sights even higher, right? I was surviving and now I wanted to soar. And how do we get there? Okay. So, first of all, it's this idea that we're creating a vision for ourselves. That's the very first step, is figuring out who do you want to be and what do you want to do. And I kind of painted this high level of vision, but there's a lot of room in there for your gifts, your talents, your interests, what your personal life looks like. There's so much flexibility in that idea of what a soaring mom looks like. So, if I say, okay, who do you want to be? What do you want to do? What's your vision? Back at that part when I was, a struggling mom with 1, 2 kids on the floor, I was bored or busy, or, when you're in those spaces, I didn't even know what I liked. Like, if you asked me what my favorite color was, I didn't know. If you asked me what food I liked, I didn't know. Like, I didn't know basic things that about me. Like, what do I like? What don't I like? I don't know. So if I say, okay, what's your vision for the year? Like, that's a really big jump when you don't even know what food you like, right? So we need to start back quite a few steps. We need to start smaller. And the very first step is just to be open to being curious, to being aware, to recognizing like, okay, I like this. I don't like this. This is interesting to me. This is curious to me. Um, when we talk about, there's a 5-step path from surviving to thriving that I created. The first step is you're surviving, second, reentry, third, exploring. And the very important one here is or normalizing. And then the fourth one is exploring. So I'm sharing this little bit with you is because exploring is essential. Discovering things without any strings attached is essential. Trying to figure out what you like, what you're interested, what you're good at, what are your gifts and talents. All of these things, it takes time. And we need to do it without an end goal. Like this has to make me money or this has to have X, Y, and Z results. Um, we need to believe that that has value in discovering these things out. Now, exploring can feel like a waste of time or like, what is it going to take away? What is it going to take away from my family? What is it going to take away from my kids if I start doing these other things? Well, what I found when I was in my exploring phase, when I had my two kids and I was now trying to figure out, okay, what does living look like for me? I learned how to make shoes out of leather while we were at the playground. I learned how to carve wood, toys. I learned how to build some furniture. I'm just like throwing stuff at the wall. What sounds interesting to me? Okay, I'm gonna go spend $5 and gather supplies at a Home Depot, or Hobby Lobby. This was not a high budget thing. This was, or go hunt in the woods for a stick, like very low budget activities here. But I was exploring. Right. And what was so fascinating to me is I did these little low stakes things to then watch my kids turn around and start trying to carve things, themselves, pretend they were carving or, build things out of cardboard boxes. They were inspired by me. Or as I sat down and learned how to play the ukulele a few years down the road. It didn't take too long before my daughter was pulling out the ukulele and a chord book and trying to do it too. So, these are my things that I explored and yours are going to be different. But whatever it is that you do, whether it's something online or something in the community or something for friends or whatever it is, um, those are only going to inspire your kids and it's going to show them an essential life process of discovery and learning and growing. And it gives you guys something to talk about. It gives you something to be proud of for each other. And it's reciprocal. So don't worry. This is going to only enhance and bless and pour goodness into your family and inspire your kids. This doesn't take anything away from them. So, um, the next kind of thing that we need to be aware of is that exploring is not a one and done thing. So I also don't want you to think like you're starting on this path and you're like, okay, I'm going to explore for the next 2 weeks and then I'm going to figure out my vision. That is not how it works. When I first created my vision, I don't know, 7 years ago now, it was very fuzzy. Like I put some words on a piece of paper. I wanted to nurture my family and it was very well written, very well thought out. But I didn't even know what that really looked like, but that's okay. Like I wanted to explore my way and like your vision can just be exploring your way to something, but visions, happen over time. So the most important thing is to get started. I like to think of it as going into a deep, dark tunnel and there's no light on the other side. And there's probably a curve in there. And you just have to start walking. Like you're never going to get to the light if you stay at the beginning of that tunnel. So you just need to take one little step and one little step and one little step. And as you get going, you're going to see a little light and it's going to be really, really far away. And as you get closer and closer, it'll get brighter and brighter. You'll see more and more clearly. And it'll get really, really exciting. But it takes time. It takes years. And that's okay, because it's a process of growth. It's a process of becoming. It's a process of transformation. And it's one that as you continue to do it, it will fill it, it will give you that energy. It will give you that enthusiasm because you are growing, you are learning. It's joyful. So the other thing that's really important, like, why does this even matter? Like, this feels like something extra. No, this does not have to be extra. This does not have to be we're going to go travel across the world and go world schooling with our kids. It's cool if that's your vision, but it doesn't have to be. The reason why vision matters here, especially if you're in a situation of feeling like bummed, right? Like you're a victim or like you have to do things and you don't want to. Doing a vision is choosing to do the things that are in front of you, choosing your responsibilities, choosing to own your life. So figure out the laundry system. That can be part of your vision, right? If you're feeling overwhelmed with laundry, choose to own it. Don't be a victim to it. Choose to own it and then do your best to figure it out. Put some effort into it, right? Solve the problems, make it easy for yourself. Feel a sense of accomplishment when you've got a system that's working for you with your laundry. That counts, right? We often look at things being big, exciting. Oh, I need a vision. I need a purpose. Let's go start a business. Do not start there. I mean, if you've got one, great. It's fun, but start with, where are you at right now? What's stressing you out right now? Make that part of your vision. Make that your vision. Start there, own it, and start moving forward with that thing, right? Do you want to figure out how to make meals better, for your family? Do you want to learn to grow a garden? Do you need to improve um your, find clothes that fit. Okay. Make that part of your vision. It's all equal. It's all important. And we get to celebrate and enjoy all, the full view of life. So that is essential as you're thinking about what matters for your vision. So let me talk to you now. Okay. Vision, right? You're creating this kind of a vision. And here's how I want you to think about your vision. Once you start getting this kind of list written down of who you want to be and what you want to do. And if this still feels really vague and high level to you, I have a Thriving Motherhood Planner, and there's like a good chunk session in there that I do every single year that guides you step by step by step through creating your vision. So if you're like, this is not enough information, there's more if you want it. But today, what I want you to do is just sit down, take out a piece of paper, and write down some of these things that might come to your mind as you think about what's stressing me out? What am I excited about? What am I curious about? What am I interested in? What do I want to do? Who do I want to be? How do I want to show up for my children and my family? What kind of wife do I want to be? What kind of mother do I want to be? Just jot those ideas down. And you don't have to overthink about it. Just brain dump it, because we're going to use that list tomorrow or on the next training, whatever you're doing. Okay. I want you to have that list written to start our next training together. Okay. But here's what I want you to think about with your vision as we wrap up today, which is this. When I was in high school, we moved to Iowa, and my brothers and sister and I started making friends with the kids there, and they lived out in the cornfields. That's, where their homes were. So when we get instructions of how to get to their house, and this is not everybody, but we had some friends that lived out here. So when we would get instructions to go to a friend's house, it would be something like, drive out into the cornfield and then get to the sign and you turn left and get to the silo and turn right. And then you get to the dirt road, driving through this dirt road and pass a few farms, and we're the third farm on the right. Okay. And my mom, this is we'd have the old, a family cell phone with an antenna, but we didn't yet have GPSs or, Google Maps to help us get places. So my mom would take a sticky note and she would write the directions, and we'd put it on the steering wheel and follow those directions. And, so we would follow looking for those landmarks all the way there. So one day I went to pick up my brother, and I made it there, followed the landmarks. But on our way back, we did something wrong. We turned left and we were supposed to go right, or we missed a sign. I don't know. But we were totally lost in this cornfield. So we called our mom and we're like, Mom, we are lost. And she's like, what happened? Right. We're like, oh, we don't know. We don't know. We're totally lost. She said, okay, look out the window. Where's the sun? What? She goes, where's the sun? So we told her, okay, all right, I want you to keep it on the right side of the car and drive. Just keep it on the right side of the car until you get back to town. Get out of the cornfield. Okay. So we navigated, my mom navigated us home with the sun out of this cornfield until we could get back to town. And then we kind of could get oriented and follow regular streets home. So your vision is the same idea. Okay. This vision is something that it's going to help you navigate your days. It's going to help you to know what to say yes to, what to say no to. It's going to help give you guidance. Now, when we had that sun as our direction, that didn't mean my mom knew, no, like, okay, now turn left, now turn right. She had no clue what the actual road was going to look like, right? This is not a very step-by-step process that's going to guide you every day. This is a very flexible thing, but what it will do is it'll help you get where you want to go. All right. So instead of just being busy or instead of being bored, we are going to now get clear, increase that clarity, which is the first part, to be able to decide what is our destination? Where are we heading? And we're not even necessarily, we don't have to go like 10 years down the road. I like to do this for about a year chunk of time. Think like, okay, this year for the next 365 days, what am I kind of interested in? More than that feels like a little bit too loosey-goosey, and shorter than that feels like I'm putting a lot of pressure on myself. So this is not specifically like deep goal planning. Okay. Remember, this is just ideas. Who do you want to be? What do you want to do? Go ahead and write that down. And I will see you in the next video where we're going to talk about taking action. What does that look like? Okay. How do we take this high level vision and how do we bring it into now this week that we want to win and take action? And then the next will be about how to keep energy, momentum going in alignment. And finally, we'll talk about how to keep it all simple.